everyone, welcome to today's live feed. Now, I had to share something funny with you. One of you asked me if our new bed mattresses would fit on the IKEA beds. So somebody asked in the live feed or in the picture thing we did the other day of the single bed mattresses, does the new single bed mattress fit in the IKEA bed? And Natalie got up and said, you know, we didn't know the answer and couldn't help because she didn't realise that I had an IKEA bed. But I had an IKEA bed in Dara's bedroom, so I thought today, I'll find out. I'll go and play with the mattress and put it in the IKEA bed and see if it fits. So off I trotted, took the IKEA mattress, the Save Our Sleep mattress off Kieran's bed, dragged it to Dara's room. Dara's bedroom is behind a bookshelf. It's a built-in bookshelf. I'll put a picture up in a minute. But it's a built-in bookshelf and his bedroom's behind it. And I had been in there on Thursday and Friday, I think. I must have been in there on Friday. And the whole room was clean and tidy and organised. And I had not been in there all weekend. We'd had a busy weekend. He's 9 years old. I don't have a reason to go in. Nathan went in and read him a story and I hadn't been in. And, you know, we'd been outside his room, but I hadn't actually been into his bedroom. So in I went, dragging in the mattress from Kieran's bed. And as I opened the door, I discovered that my Dara, age 9, who thinks he's Steve Irwin, really does, videos of that as well to prove, had made his room into a snail sanctuary. The entire room was covered in snails. Yes, hundreds of snails. He had spent the week collecting snails from school, bringing them home in plastic tubs. He said he was saving the snails when I chatted to him tonight after school. Saving the snails because everybody at school was trampling on the snails. Well, he'd filled his bedroom with snails. It was disgusting. And a couple of the snails had started to deteriorate and they were covered in white maggots. Is that way too much information? So my testing to see if the mattress fit on the bed resulted in a 2-hour cleaning session and rescuing session. Kieran and I had to rescue all of these snails from Dara's bedroom and bring them out and put them outside and clean them, and anyhow, it was pretty gross. Gross, gross, gross. Check your 9-year-old's bedroom every day. Make sure you know what they're bringing home in their school bag and putting in their bedroom. It was gross. Anyhow, let me see what questions. We saved the snails, by the way, but let me see what questions have come in. So I'm looking, the reason I look like I'm being rude and looking down at my phone is because it's easier to see your questions on the telephone than it is to see them on the iPad in front of me. So let me just have a check and see what questions are coming in. Now, a couple of things. When you're following my bedding guide, please make sure you follow it during the day too. I noticed that my brother in Ireland was wrapping his baby at night time, but I'm not sure if he's wrapping his baby in the day. And it's really important to follow the bedding guide in the day as well as at night. So, you know, I can't quite get my head around why you would wrap at night and you wouldn't wrap in the day. But if you want to follow the routines, it's really important to wrap in the day as well. So Alicia said, thank you so much for checking. Yes, Alicia, it was you. You're the cause of me finding the maggots and the snails and the grossness and the tidying. And I don't think I'm going to forget. I'm going to check his room every day and every night. But Alicia, it did fit. And in fact, the mattress fitted the IKEA bed, I think, better than the normal bed. On the normal bed, there seemed to be a bigger gap, so I think it actually fitted the IKEA bed better. Right. Emma Robert says she wants to know when you can start a baby on normal milk and no more formula. Well, this really depends on the child and on the baby. I recommend moving from breast milk or formula. I recommend keeping your baby on step 1 infant formula until they are about 14 months old. I find moving to step 2 and step 3 causes sleep problems. I would avoid all formulas that have probiotics added to them. And if you're a breastfeeding mum, I would avoid taking probiotics. And if your baby is sick and on antibiotics and somebody suggests taking probiotics, I would avoid it. I would give them foods with it in it, like natural yogurt and so on, but I wouldn't give them probiotics as a supplement because it causes sleep problems. Now, I recommend you use infant formula stage 1 until about 14 months old. At 14 months old, I recommend you move to A2 milk. Some people find that they move to A2 milk and their baby is fine. Other people find that it causes the runs and they have to wait till 15 months or 16 months. So it depends on your child. So my answer is no sooner than 14 months would I move from infant formula to milk. And at 14 months, I would start trialling, if you were in Australia, I would start trialling A2 milk, which is like goat's milk. It has no A1 in it. It is only A2. If you're in New Zealand, most milk is already A2. And if you're anywhere else in the world, most milk is A2. So, but in Australia, A2 milk, not milk like that says naturally contains A2. It has to be the full A2 milk because there is nothing good about the A1 protein. The A1 protein gives us, some of us, tummy pains, cramps, the runs, so A2. Hope that answers your question. A lady says, Alicia says, hello, my 2-year-old is struggling to go to sleep at night. Takes approximately 1.5 hours. Follow your routine from when she was newborn. So this is actually discussed in my toddler book, might be in my baby book as well. At about 2 years old, that sort of going to bed at 7 o'clock at night, you have to make a decision. If your 2-year-old still has a day sleep, they might take longer to go to sleep at night. If they're lying in bed awake at night and mucking about, playing with books, playing with their comforter, chatting to themselves, singing, that's okay. If you still have a day sleep and you want them to have a day sleep and they're in bed, they are still resting. Some people are pregnant with their 2nd or 3rd baby when their toddler is 2, or 4th or 5th baby. But if you are pregnant when your toddler is 2 and you enjoy having that break or that rest, or if you're a breastfeeding mum or even a bottle feeding mum and you want that rest in the day, so you're happy to put your toddler down in the day for a sleep, but it means that they don't go to sleep straight away at night, but they're in bed at 7 o'clock. If they're awake, screaming the house down, you need to cut out the day sleep or cut it back by 20 minutes. If they're happy in bed, you can continue to have the day sleep and pop them in bed and allow them to take longer to settle. That is covered in the book. Belinda says, I'm finding my nearly 4-month-old girl is doing well on the sleep routine. However, I'm finding that I have to rush home to get her to bed for a nap. She won't sleep anywhere else. Belinda, sometimes that happens, and she's 4 months old and she's a baby, and our children are babies for such a small amount of time. Sometimes it is just a good idea to rush home and put them to bed. I know you feel house tired, you feel like you've got to be in your house all the time and they need their bed and they need their routine, but sleep is so good for our children. The odd day, out and about, let them have a short sleep, and if they have a short sleep or a cat nap, go home, maybe put them to bed 20 minutes early for the next sleep. But all in all, if you've got to rush home, I don't think it's that bad a thing. I think, you know, they're young for such a small amount of time. This first year will go so quickly, and there'll be one coming on sort of 14, 15 months and moving to 1 day sleep. It might just be that you have to rush home while they're little if that's where your baby wants to sleep. Jade says help, only does 1.5 hours lunch sleep. I'm not quite sure what Jade is talking about, but not quite sure. Jade, maybe you can give us some more information. Phoebe says, how do you know when your baby is ready to move to 1 day sleep from 2? My baby's 10 months old. She has started to refuse some of her day sleeps. So what happens, Phoebe, is they start early rising in the morning. If you've got all the bedding correct and they're early rising in the morning, you start to make that morning day sleep later. That morning day sleep gets later and longer, and the afternoon sleep gets later and shorter, becomes a nap and disappears. So you would know that they're ready for 1 day sleep because that afternoon sleep will have started to disappear, and it eventually will disappear. It's individual as to when they go to 1 day sleep, but the morning sleep becomes later and longer, and the afternoon sleep becomes later and disappears. So if you follow the routines, move up them, it should happen naturally. You should notice that happen, and it should be easy enough to tell when they're ready for 1 day sleep. Elizabeth says, my 9-month-old has started rolling, so I can no longer wrap her. But since doing this, she's much more unsettled at night. What can I do? So when you say your 9-month-old has started rolling, I presume you mean they're trying to roll in bed wrapped. So if your 9-month-old is starting to roll in bed, looking like they're going to roll in bed wrapped, you need to take the wrap away immediately. You need to replace their short-sleeved bodysuit. Let me just get one. you need to replace your short-sleeved bodysuit, which looks like this, a bodysuit buttons under the bum. Replace it with a long-sleeved bodysuit. So you replace it with a long-sleeved bodysuit, and you put it underneath the baby grow, which is one of this, like a onesie, a baby grow. So when you take away the wrap, you replace the short-sleeved bodysuit with a long-sleeved bodysuit and the baby grow, and you may change the sleeping bag to a 2.5 tog sleeping bag. Let me just check your question. She's much more unsettled at night. Okay, so you need to do that. So you need to change the 1 tog sleeping bag to 2.5. You need to change the short sleeve bodysuit to a long sleeve bodysuit. And if she's still unsettled at night, I would be trying extra blankets. And also at 9 months, it might be that she's not having enough protein in her diet. You might need to look at the food. It might be nothing to do with you taking the wrap away. Kate says, my 4-month-old can self-settle himself to sleep, but he started waking 45 minutes after going down. How do I stop this? So, Kate, this could be a bedding problem. So if he's self-settling himself to sleep, it could be a bedding problem. It could be he's not eating enough. So at 4 months, we would have him eating. It could be he's not eating enough. It could be that he needs to move up the routine. So they're the little things I would look at. So if you could join the online advice area, you can help you in there. If you can't join the online advice area, then they're the things we would look at. His bedding, whether he is eating enough, have you started solids, are you adding the rice cereal to his solids, and maybe try the next routine. Helen says, my 16-month-old is fussy with food, please help. So that's a bit of a hard one, Helen, to go into here because I don't have enough detail, but it's covered in the toddler book and the feeding book. Fussy eating, more in the feeding book than the toddler book. So, but remember, it could just be that your 16-month-old is reached the age where they don't need as much food because they're not growing as quick. So it might be that they just don't need as much food. And if they're still sleeping, don't worry about the food fussiness. If they're not sleeping at night or not well during the day, then you do need to look at the food. Monique says, my 10-week-old is learning to self-settle, but always starts to emotional cry after 20 minutes of protesting. What do I do? So, Monique, if your 10-week-old you're trying to teach them how to self-settle, you need to make sure that you're following our mattress protector advice. So remove your mattress protector and replace it with the cotton towel. Remember, we've now got bassinet or small, like cradle-sized mattress protectors. So remove your mattress protector and replace it with a cotton towel or the Save Our Sleep mattress protector. Sorry, I'm yawning. I think as soon as I start thinking about sleep and thinking about all the maggots that I cleaned up, it's making me tired. All that hard work I did cleaning the bedroom, it's making me tired. So excuse me yawning. I know I'm probably making all of you yawn. But so with the 10-week-old, make sure you are following our mattress protector advice. Remove the mattress protector. Make sure you've got your 10-week-old in the short sleeve bodysuit with a baby grow, with the 1 tog sleeping bag, the wrap and a wrap over the top, depending where you live, anything from sort of 6 to 15 layers of blankets. So make sure you're doing that to help your 10-week-old self-settle. Alicia, this is the last question I'm going to take from Alicia. I mean, it's the last question I'm going to take from anybody, but it's from Alicia. Alicia says, my 6-month-old just won't take his afternoon nap. Don't mind him not sleeping if he's happy, but he's very fussy. He's on the routine 9 to 11, 1 to 3, breastfed on solids. So at 6 months, it sounds like he's ready for the 6.5-month routine. So I would move his 1 o'clock sleep to 1:20 and see if that helps. Okay, thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. I'll take some more questions probably tomorrow. Thank you. Bye.